Hello, esteemed gentlemen. The scariest people are the ones who don't try to be scary at all. There's something unsettling about a man who doesn't seek approval, doesn't beg for attention, and doesn't follow the script of society. He walks into a room and the air shifts. Not because he's loud or overbearing, but because he carries the kind of presence that makes people uncomfortable without lifting a finger. That's the power of a Sigma male, a force that operates in the shadows, bending reality without breaking a sweat. Here's a chilling fact. Psychologists have found that unpredictability is one of the most disturbing traits a person can have. The human brain craves patterns, familiarity, and structure. Sigma males, they don't fit into any pattern. They disappear when you expect them to stay. They remain unfazed when others crumble. And worst of all, they do it all without even realizing it, which makes their presence even more unnerving. But before you start thinking they're some kind of supernatural beings or secret government experiments, let's be clear. Sigma males are simply wired differently. They don't intentionally intimidate people. They just exist in a way that disrupts the normal flow of social dynamics. And that, my friend, is what makes them so spine-chilling. Ready to find out the 20 things Sigma males do that send shivers down people's spines, often without even knowing it? Buckle up, because once you see these traits, you'll never unsee them. Number 1. They make people feel unimportant. Sigma males have a way of making people feel unimportant without even trying. It's not because they're rude or dismissive, they just don't operate on the same social frequency as everyone else. They don't engage in meaningless small talk. They don't acknowledge social cues that demand attention. And they certainly don't validate people just for the sake of it. And that, for most people, is deeply unsettling. In a world where everyone is subconsciously begging to be seen, Sigma males act like they don't notice. Someone tells a joke, and instead of laughing to be polite, they just stare. Someone tries to show off, and they don't even blink. Someone expects praise for an achievement, and the Sigma simply nods and moves on. It's not arrogance, it's indifference. And nothing unnerves people more than realizing their usual tricks for gaining attention don't work. Most people don't need to be loved by everyone, but they do need to feel like they exist in the minds of others. When a Sigma male interacts with them, it's as if they're just another face in the crowd. No special treatment, no exaggerated responses, no unnecessary flattery. It's not intentional cruelty, but it feels that way to those who thrive on recognition. This is why they can walk into a room and disrupt the social flow without saying a word. They don't give the expected reactions, they don't play the validation game, and they don't offer fake enthusiasm. It's not rejection, it's just a complete lack of effort in making others feel significant. And in a world where most people crave acknowledgement, that kind of silent disregard is more chilling than outright hostility. Number 2. Their presence feels like a judgment. Being around a Sigma male can feel like standing in front of a mirror that exposes everything you don't want to see. They don't talk much, they don't force reactions, and they definitely don't engage in meaningless flattery. Instead, they just observe, and that's where the discomfort begins. Most people are used to others reacting to them in predictable ways, nodding, smiling, agreeing, or at least pretending to care. But Sigma males don't play along. They don't nod just because it's expected. They don't give fake approval to keep conversations comfortable. Their silence isn't passive, it's intense. And the longer they watch, the more people start second-guessing themselves. It's not that Sigma males are judging anyone, but their mere presence feels like an unspoken test. In their silence, people start wondering, am I making sense? Do I sound stupid? Why do I feel like I'm being analyzed? The more someone craves validation, the more unsettling this becomes. Sigma males don't need to criticize or call people out. Just existing with that quiet, unreadable expression is enough to make others feel exposed. This effect is strongest on those who rely on social masks. People who build their identity on being charming, funny, or dominant suddenly find that none of it is working. The Sigma doesn't react. They don't play along. And when social tricks don't land, it leaves people feeling vulnerable, unsure of themselves, and even embarrassed. This is why people either respect Sigma males or resent them. There's rarely an in-between. Some see the lack of forced reactions as honesty, others see it as coldness. But either way, the feeling remains the same. Standing in front of them is like being silently measured, and for many, that's more intimidating than any words could ever be. Number 3, they intimidate even the most dominant personalities. Dominant personalities thrive on control, status, and the unspoken game of hierarchy. They're used to people either challenging them or submitting to them, and they know exactly how to handle both. But a Sigma male? He doesn't challenge, he doesn't submit. He simply exists outside the entire system. And that's what makes him so unsettling. Alphas are wired to recognize threats in the form of competition. They dominate rooms, they assert themselves, and they expect pushback from those who want their spot at the top. But when they encounter a Sigma, something strange happens. There's no pushback, no need to prove anything, no attempt to outshine or impress. The Sigma isn't playing the same game, and that realization alone throws the Alpha off balance. The most unsettling part is the sheer level of independence. True independence isn't just about being self-sufficient. It's about not needing validation from anyone. Alphas thrive on recognition, even if they pretend not to. They want respect, acknowledgement, even admiration. But a Sigma? He doesn't care who notices him. He doesn't seek approval. He operates on his own terms, unaffected by power dynamics. And that makes dominant personalities feel an unfamiliar emotion, powerlessness. This is why even the most assertive individuals struggle to handle Sigmas. They can't intimidate them because intimidation only works on those who care about status. They can't dominate them because domination only works on those who seek rank. And worst of all, they can't ignore them because something about a man who truly doesn't care about the social hierarchy is too intriguing to look away from. That's why the presence of a Sigma in any group silently shifts the balance. He doesn't rise to the top. He doesn't fall to the bottom. He simply stands outside the system, untouchable, and that alone is enough to unsettle even the most dominant personalities. Number 4. They destroy romantic fantasies. Romance for most people is built on a set of unspoken rules, flirtation, emotional reciprocity, and the thrill of feeling desired. Society has crafted countless fantasies about the ideal partner, the charming bad boy who secretly has a heart of gold, the devoted lover who makes someone their entire world, or the confident alpha who dominates with passion. Sigma males? They don't fit into any of these roles, and that's exactly why they leave people confused, frustrated, and sometimes even obsessed. Unlike the typical romantic archetypes, a Sigma male doesn't chase, doesn't play into expectations, and doesn't wrap his identity around a relationship. He doesn't engage in unnecessary drama, doesn't shower people with constant affection, and, most unsettling of all, doesn't need anyone. This emotional self-sufficiency is what shatters romantic illusions. Most people enter relationships expecting a certain level of emotional dependency, a give-and-take dynamic where both parties lean on each other. But a Sigma? He leans on no one. This isn't to say Sigma males are incapable of love. They can be deeply loyal and intense partners, but only on their own terms. They won't mold themselves to fit someone's fantasy. They won't offer the predictable highs and lows of a typical romantic storyline, and they certainly won't beg for attention or approval. Instead, they remain exactly as they are, unmoved by emotional games, uninterested in proving their love, and unaffected by the need to be romantic in the traditional sense. For some, this is liberating. For others, it's maddening. They expect passion, obsession, and emotional fireworks, only to be met with quiet detachment and unshakable independence. And when someone realizes they can't change or control a Sigma male, the fantasy they built in their head collapses, leaving them more intrigued but ultimately unfulfilled. Number 5. They don't show fear even when they should. Fear is a currency in human interactions. It dictates behavior, establishes dominance, and determines who holds power in any given situation. Most people react predictably to threats, whether it's social pressure, physical intimidation, or psychological manipulation. They flinch, they get defensive, they back down. But Sigma males, they don't react at all, and that's what makes them so unnerving. It's not that Sigma males are reckless or foolish. They recognize danger like anyone else, but they don't give aggressors the satisfaction of seeing a reaction. No nervous fidgeting, no forced laughter, no anxious attempts to de-escalate. They simply stare, unfazed, as if the threat in front of them is nothing more than background noise. This indifference is more terrifying than aggression because it signals something most people aren't prepared for: absolute control. Bullies, manipulators, and power-hungry individuals rely on fear to maintain their influence. They expect people to shrink, to submit, to respond in ways that reinforce their dominance. But when they encounter a Sigma male, they hit a brick wall. No matter how much pressure they apply, nothing cracks. And the moment they realize their intimidation tactics aren't working, the power dynamic shifts. The aggressor suddenly feels powerless, exposed, and even ridiculous. This kind of composure isn't just rare, it's unsettling. Even in situations where fear would be natural, a Sigma remains unreadable. Is he fearless? Is he calculating? Is he simply indifferent? No one can tell, and that mystery alone is enough to make even the most dangerous people hesitate. Because when someone doesn't show fear, even when they should, it forces everyone around them to wonder what else they might be capable of. Number 6. They don't show fear, even when they should. Fear is a tool that people, especially aggressors, use to establish control. It's how bullies, manipulators, and power-hungry individuals get their way. Most people instinctively show some sign of fear when confronted. A nervous laugh, avoiding eye contact, shifting body language. Small tells that let the aggressor know they're in control. But Sigma males? They don't give them anything. When faced with intimidation, a Sigma remains completely unaffected. No flinching, no forced words, no unnecessary movements. Just cold, unshaken silence. It's not arrogance, and it's not ignorance of danger. It's simply a refusal to engage in the fear game. And that, ironically, is what makes them the most intimidating person in the room. Aggressors expect pushback or submission, but when neither happens, they're thrown off balance. Their entire strategy crumbles because it depends on the target showing some form of distress. Without that, they lose control of the interaction. A Sigma's calm, almost bored response to threats creates an eerie shift. Suddenly, the aggressor starts questioning themselves. Why isn't he reacting? Does he know something I don't? Is he more dangerous than he looks? This unshakable composure extends beyond physical confrontation. Social threats, like public humiliation, peer pressure, or professional sabotage, also fall flat against a Sigma. He doesn't scramble to defend himself, doesn't over-explain, and certainly doesn't beg for acceptance. This makes those who thrive on dominance incredibly uncomfortable. In the end, a Sigma male doesn't need to prove he's fearless. His lack of reaction speaks for itself. And in a world where fear dictates power, someone who refuses to play along becomes the most powerful presence of all. Number 7. They never explain themselves. Most people feel the need to explain themselves, to justify their decisions, defend their actions, or make sure others understand their reasoning. It's a deeply ingrained habit, driven by a desire for approval, validation, or simply the fear of being misunderstood. Sigma males don't have this problem. They move through life making choices without feeling the slightest obligation to explain them, and that unsettles people more than they realize. When a Sigma walks away from a conversation, disappears from a social circle, or makes an unconventional decision, there's no long-winded speech about why. No apologies, no justifications, no desperate attempt to make people understand. And that lack of explanation drives others insane. People want closure. They want to know why someone acts a certain way. They want things to make sense. But a Sigma, he leaves people guessing. This refusal to explain doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from indifference. A Sigma male doesn't seek validation, so he sees no reason to clarify his actions. If someone misunderstands him, that's their problem. If people make false assumptions, he lets them. He understands that the more he remains silent, the more others fill in the blanks with their own theories. Some will admire him, some will resent him, but all will be thinking about him. And that's the power of a Sigma male's mystery. The more he refuses to explain, the more people obsess over his motives. He forces others into a position where they must either accept him as he is or be consumed by their own curiosity. Either way he wins, because in the end he was never looking for their understanding in the first place. Number 8. They reject traditional success, yet still win. Society has conditioned people to believe that success follows a strict formula. Climb the corporate ladder, network aggressively, chase promotions, seek recognition, and constantly prove your worth. Most people spend their entire lives playing this exhausting game, believing that validation equals victory. But Sigma males, they don't play at all, yet they often end up ahead of those who do. The reason is simple. They operate with a level of detachment that makes them hyper-effective. While others stress over office politics, performance reviews, and impressing the right people, Sigmas stay focused on what actually matters, results. They master skills, refine their craft, and work with ruthless efficiency, but they do it for themselves, not for applause. Ironically, this lack of desperation for success makes them more valuable than those who crave it. People who chase recognition often burn out trying to keep up appearances. They take on unnecessary responsibilities, engage in performative work, and waste energy on proving their worth instead of actually being valuable. A Sigma male cuts through all of that. He doesn't need external approval, so he skips the nonsense and delivers. That kind of quiet competence doesn't just get noticed, it gets rewarded. And that's where the paradox happens. The people who spend their lives chasing success often end up resenting the Sigma who seems to attract it effortlessly. While they were busy climbing the ladder, he built his own path. While they played the status game, he ignored it and became irreplaceable. And while they sought validation, he mastered self-sufficiency, proving once again that the ones who don't chase success often end up getting it anyway. Number 9. They make people doubt themselves. Sigma males don't play by the rules, and that's what makes their presence so disruptive. In a world where people are constantly performing, following social codes, and adhering to unspoken agreements, the Sigma male simply exists without any concern for these norms. And that's where the real discomfort starts, when others realize that they're caught in a game they never fully understood, and a Sigma doesn't even acknowledge it. By not engaging in the usual social games, chasing popularity, fitting in with groups, or performing according to societal expectations, Sigma males force people to question the very foundations of those games. Most people operate on autopilot, using politeness, social conformity, and status-seeking behavior to navigate through life. They believe these actions are necessary to avoid consequences, get ahead, or fit in. But when they observe a Sigma male moving through life with ease, unaffected by these unspoken rules, the cracks begin to show. The more someone watches a Sigma not react to the games of validation and competition, the more they start doubting their own actions. Why am I so obsessed with what others think? Why do I follow these rules if no one else is paying attention? They begin to question their own motivations, unsure if they're truly free or just slaves to expectations they've never even consciously agreed to. The beauty of the Sigma male's indifference is that it forces people to see the absurdity of their own social behaviors. It's not that they intentionally try to make others feel inferior, but by simply being themselves, independent and unaffected, they reveal how fake the system is. And the result is unsettling. Others start realizing that they've been playing a game with no rules, and the Sigma is the only one who's truly free. Number 10. They have a chilling level of self-control. When everyone around you is reacting impulsively, whether it's getting defensive, emotional, or desperate, it's easy to feel like you're in control of the situation. But then there's the Sigma male, who remains unnervingly calm no matter the chaos unfolding around him. While others lose their cool, get caught up in drama, or start scrambling to fix things, the Sigma simply watches, unaffected. This kind of self-control is not just impressive, it's almost eerie. The Sigma male doesn't let emotions dictate his actions. Whether it's an argument, a stressful situation, or an unexpected crisis, he remains poised, never letting his feelings cloud his judgment. While people around him might be shouting, panicking, or reacting out of fear, he calmly assesses the situation, keeping a level head while others spiral. His calmness feels almost unnatural, because it's rare to see someone so composed in the face of emotional turmoil. This is what makes his presence so intimidating. When people see the Sigma male's unwavering self-control, they start to feel small in comparison. It's not that he's intentionally trying to outdo anyone. It's just that his emotional detachment makes everyone else's reactions seem weak, disjointed, or even foolish. His level of composure strips away the veil of self-assurance that most people rely on to mask their insecurities. When you're faced with someone who remains utterly calm in a storm, it forces you to confront how out of control you might actually be. This kind of self-control doesn't just earn respect, it creates fear. In a world where everyone is expected to react and show their feelings, a Sigma's ability to remain detached makes him seem almost supernatural, and it leaves people wondering, how does he stay so calm? What is he really capable of? Sigma males are a breed apart. They don't follow the script, don't seek approval, and don't play by the rules. Their presence alone disrupts the social order, making others question their own motivations, behaviors, and even their sense of self. They have a chilling ability to remain unshaken in the face of threats, emotional chaos, or societal expectations. And while most people are trapped in a cycle of chasing validation, recognition, and control, Sigma males simply walk through life with a quiet confidence that leaves others both fascinated and unsettled. It's not about being better or superior, it's about being different, and that difference is what causes such a stir. By not playing into the conventional games of life, they expose the fragility and artificial nature of the systems that most people blindly follow. They don't need to dominate or compete to win. They simply exist outside the chaos, unaffected and untouchable. This is what makes them so compelling and unnerving at the same time. In the end, the Sigma male doesn't need to prove anything. His actions, or lack thereof, speak volumes, leaving everyone around him to grapple with their own uncertainties. They've shattered romantic fantasies, crushed social norms, and made even the most dominant personalities pause in their tracks. And perhaps that's the most chilling part of all. Sigma males aren't trying to intimidate. They're just living their truth, and that's what makes them so damn irresistible. If you found this breakdown of Sigma males eye-opening, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking content. Hit that like button if you're ready to embrace the truth behind what sets these individuals apart, and drop a comment with your thoughts or experiences. Let's keep the conversation going. And of course, share this video with anyone who needs to see what real independence looks like. You never know, it might just change their perspective. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.